Alright, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to show you how to tear down and rebuild a Johnson & Evinrude carburetor off a 1959 QD20. That's a 10 horsepower outboard. This is what the carburetor looks like. You might see, if you have this model, you might see a big muffler that comes on the front of it. That's all that this is, but once you take the muffler off, this is what you have. You can, in the description, I'm going to have linked to all of the different outboard carburetor kits, not only for this particular carburetor, but for all Johnson & Evinrude outboards from the 50s to about 1982, below 25 horsepower. So you can make sure you go to the description, expand that, and you should find links to your specific carburetor to order your kit off of Amazon. So this is the carburetor. We're just going to tear it down. It's a pretty simple job, and go step by step. Thanks for watching. And if this video is at all helpful to you, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting more videos on how to work on older Johnson & Evinrude outboards. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take the bowl off. Alright, so you can see that this carburetor has not been cleaned in a long time. Yeah, it was very hard to get off, and I had to beat on it a little bit before this came off. Also took out this fitting, or this I think this is the low speed setting needle. Comes in 2 pieces through there. I'll show you how to set that whenever we reassemble it. And also from up here, this is the high speed needle, and it comes out of here. So I remove that. We can go ahead and remove this as well. Now what I like to do is remove the float. Has a pin right here. This may take a little bit to remove since it's rusted, but you got to remove that pin. It slides out, and then the float will come out. And there you go. There's the float. Again, we're going to remove this rubber piece right here and remove this section. This section you got to be very careful, because if you're in this situation and it's corroded, you can easily strip this brass. I think I'm going to have to go to the vise. Alright, so what I got it out, but what I had to do was go in there and get in the vise and clamp down on it here and twist this whole assembly to back it out. Gotta watch out, there's this valve needle here that rides along in here in this orifice. Make sure you keep track of it. Well, actually it doesn't matter since you get a new one with the kit, but we have to take this brass fitting out too. It's good if you have a vise, because you can place the carburetor in here, slightly compress it, and then remove these brass parts a lot easier. These right here are made to be removed. What you can typically do is poke a hole in them and then remove them that way. These come in the kit, and this allows the jets to be cleaned. Make sure that there's no rubber left anywhere. There's a rubber seal in here you want to remove. Using a pick is the best way I know to get it out. Also, you want to make sure that your gasket, you clean all that material off. And on this side, you want to make sure this gasket gets taken off. And there's a rubber seal here for the bowl you want to make sure is removed. Just want to get all the rubber out, because what we're going to do is soak these parts in acetone overnight and just let it really sit there and clean it out. It may take a little work, but if you have a pick like this, you can slowly work at it and remove, whoops, this O-ring. So once you have that O-ring removed, all that gasket off, all the gasket material down here and on this side, what's the next thing that's best to do is take an air hose, or a compressor, air compressor, and just blow it off really well before we soak it in acetone. Alright, once you have the carburetor cleaned, and how I like to clean it is I like to soak all of the components in a bowl like this, and maybe a bigger one for the main body assemblies, and basically acetone. And you can get this clean strip acetone at Walmart. I think it was around 11 bucks, but you just soak all the components in acetone for several hours, and that gets rid of all the residue, and it cleans it up fairly well. So once you have all your components nice and clean on the inside and all the gum and deposits removed, we can start to reassemble it. Another thing you need to do is basically take some compressed air. You can either use an air compressor like this, or you can take a can of compressed air and blow out all the orifice of the carburetor body, and just make sure everything is nice and clean. Alright, the first one I like to do is the bottom one, because it's relatively simple. So you want to take one of your little gaskets here and place it in there. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one it is, but that one slides in there. So I like to go ahead and seat it, and then you want to back it out for the initial setting, 1 revolution and then 1/4 of a revolution. And there you have it. So that's the bottom side. For the top side, I like to go ahead and place the small metal cap back on the top. So how you do that is it snaps right in, and then what I like to take is the handle end of a screwdriver and then center it as best as you can and tap it in, and that should give you a good nice seal. Starting the top side, put your gasket in there, screw that piece in tight. You can hand tight it for now. Take your needle and gently seat it and then back it out one turn and then a quarter turn. There you go. All right. Now we're going to reseat, show you the component. This component here, place it just make sure you do not strip the threads. Seat it in there. Next, take this piece that comes in your carburetor kit and the clear plastic washer. Slide the washer on this piece, screw it down into here. Tighten it down. Next, take this small needle and take the small clip. These both come in your carb kit. Through the loop end, and just allow it to sit right there. Next, take your float and this piece and put your float through the tag of that clip you just put on the needle, and then insert the dowel pin to secure your float. Alright, there's that piece. Now, the trick is to setting the float is making sure that your float, you see how the float is at a slight level, angle relative to the flat part of the carburetor. You want this float, whenever it's upside down in the position we have it, to be this surface and this surface to be parallel. So you may have to bend this small sheet metal tab here just slightly in order to get this surface and this surface parallel. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so as you can see now, I've kind of adjusted the float to where when the carburetor is upside down, this top surface and this surface, they are parallel to each other. one thing I forgot to do is take this thick rubber washer and slide it over the center pin that we just screwed in the center of the float. Press it down good. That's going to mate up with this surface in the bottom of the bowl. Alright, the remaining thing to do is put on the gasket. Alright, last thing to do is put on the gasket and connect the upper and lower halves. Alright, there you have it, reassembled. Again, if this video helped you at all, please click like. For all carburetor kits for your model, make sure you look in the description below and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.